voice inside of our head that, so it doesn't always straight up come out and be like, hey, rebel, you shouldn't do that. Nobody likes you, right? Sorry, I'm buttoning this. I try to button it. It's not the voice doesn't usually come out in words. It can, don't get me wrong, but typically it's going to come out in ways that make you feel small, right? The inner voice is the one that says, something's wrong with you. That's why they don't want you to, that's why they don't want to visit you. That's why they don't want to connect with you. Something's wrong with you because, that's why they made plans and didn't include you, right? It doesn't typically come out in words like that. It can. In my experience, it just is this overwhelming feeling of I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Once you start to recognize it, you can kind of see where it comes from. Okay. The other day I was talking to someone who was in what I would deem as she has some degrees. She has a lot of things going for her. She's a professional, all these things, great things I could say about her. But when I was talking to her, I got really uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. Right. So there's nothing that said, hey, Kitty, you suck. Like there was nothing there. It was that feeling within me that was like, I felt myself wanting to get small, right? Like this is uncomfortable. I don't know if I can do this. That is typically what it comes across as. And you, as the lovely human owner of this body and nervous system, you get to decide what you need to regulate and what's going on. I know a lot of you have been going through that lately, and it's a very real thing. Okay, it's a very real thing. Some people say just shut it out. It's not a real thing. It's a real thing. If you feel it, you know what I'm talking about. So tonight we're going to talk about something that quietly shapes your entire life. We are going to go back to some childhood trauma, if you want to call it that. I am not one that wants to continuously dig up things, but in this case, I want you to know where it comes from. Now, keep in mind too, just because it comes from something that happened when you were a child, doesn't mean you get to keep blaming other people for it. Now that you're aware of it, you get to fix it. Okay? That's real talk. You can only blame your parents, your siblings, everybody for so long before you decide to grab life by the balls and take care of it yourself. Okay? And when you finally decide to do that, you will start seeing the people around you, parents, aunts, uncles, siblings, all those as people instead of what your expectations you put on them on what you thought that they should be. Okay? This is part of it. This is part of it. Okay? So tonight we are talking about something that quietly shapes your entire life. It's not your job. It's not your relationship. It's not going to be all your trauma. It is your inner dialogue. It's that inside of you feeling. We could call it the voice inside of our head. It's the one that says, you should have done better. Why are you like this? They probably think you're annoying. You're behind. You're doing too much. You're not enough. They don't really like you. Here's what most people don't realize. That voice is not the truth most of the time. Okay? It's not the truth most of the time. It's conditioning, it's repetition, and it is a habit. Habits can be rewritten, but are they easy to rewrite? They're not. Tonight isn't about pretending everything is positive because that's not the right way to do it either. It's not about toxic positivity. Just say something nice. It's going to be great. There's sometimes things that you can't say a lot of nice things about. When it's over, you might be able to. It's not about gaslighting yourself into good vibes only, right? Only good vibes, only good vibes, only good vibes. Hey, I've been over on YouTube for a little bit. It wasn't letting me record the classes. Thanks for coming in. It's about something much deeper. It's about learning that you get to choose how to stand beside yourself. Okay? You get to choose how to stand beside yourself. You get to choose. Why do we believe the inner critic? Why do we believe the inner critic, guys? Why do we believe that inner critic? Why? Why do you believe the inner critic, but you won't believe all the good things about yourself? Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. Let's talk about why the voice feels so real. Because if it didn't feel real, we wouldn't believe it, right? It has to feel real to you because you believe it, right? I use the thing sometimes like, your hair is bright green. And if your hair isn't bright green, you're going to be like, no, it's not. Like, I'm not even going to argue. But for whatever reason, that would be like us saying, yeah, my hair's green. Like, you're just conditioned to believe these things. Okay? If it didn't feel real, you wouldn't believe it. Most of our inner dialogue was formed before we had the cognitive ability to question it. Okay, so here's a little bit of the science that I dug up. Between ages of 0 and 7, your brain is in high absorption mode and you are learning these things. Who you are, what is safe, what gets love, what gets rejected, what makes people proud, and what makes people withdraw. Okay, so this is where a lot of the things happen. Now, again, once you get over yourself, right, and realize that there are some things that are inexcusable. I'm not suggesting that, but overall, you're an adult now and you get to take responsibility for your life. It's your life. So instead of letting other things that have happened in your life control you, it's time for you to look at them as people with their own stuff, right? And step into your power. Otherwise, you just let them control you. Like half the people that you gripe about all the time, you're still letting control you. I still let them control, right? By not growing through this. You're learning who you are, what's safe, what gets love, what gets rejected, what makes people proud, and what makes them withdraw. And children don't question. They don't question. They don't question. They personalize everything. So if something's wrong, it was my fault. What did I do? What do I need to do different? Okay? If someone is stressed and snaps, a child will think, I did something wrong. So if you're one, when someone snaps, you immediately are like, what did I do? Think about this. If a parent is emotionally unavailable, a child thinks, I'm just too much. They just can't handle me. I'm too much. If praise only comes with achievement for doing what someone tells you to do, doing what someone wants you to do, and being who someone wants you to be, a child thinks, I am only lovable when I perform. And that becomes your script until it doesn't. So if you're one who feels like you do things wrong when people are mad, or you don't want to make boundaries because they're going to get mad. If you're one that says, I'm too much, I must be too much. If you think you're only lovable when you do what other people want you to do, that becomes your script. Then life reinforces it, right? We're in the reinforcement loop. There's a failed test, there's a breakup, there's a fight, a comment someone didn't mean deeply, but you internalized and definitely took it all in as it was the truth. Your brain goes, see, that confirms it. Did you see how she's treated you? Did you see how she didn't talk to you? You didn't see she had earphones in and couldn't hear you, right? That happens at work all the time. That happens to me and my husband all the time, right? It's not that something's wrong with you. There's so many other factors that go on around the world in everyone's life. To internalize every little energy miscommunication is big. Your brain is not trying to hurt you, though. Your brain is trying to protect you, right? If you're a pattern recognizer, and all of us that are the ADHD, all of the above, right? You recognize patterns. And therefore you think your mind thinks that these patterns are truth. This is what's happening, even though it's from the past. The inner critic was formed as a defense mechanism. If I criticize myself first, no one else can surprise me. If I leave first, no one can leave me. If I lower my expectations, I won't be disappointed. If I assume I'm not enough, I won't risk finding out that I'm not enough. No one will see you then. Ooh, right? It feels protective. It feels like you're protecting yourself when you say these things. It feels like you're getting ahead of it, right? If I criticize myself first, no one can say anything bad about me, right? So we often will say that. It feels protective. But what protected you at 10 is going to sabotage you at 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, all the fives, all the ages. What protected you as a child will sabotage your life as you're trying to grow and find out who you are. And here's the key. Just because the thought is familiar does not mean it's true. Just because it's familiar does not mean it's true. Think about your most common critical self-thought. What is some common criticisms like from your inner voice? What is some common things that you guys think about? What are some common things? You're too needy, okay? There's so many. Mine used to be, I'm too overweight. But then I learned that's also a protection mechanism too, right? I'm not good enough. I'm behind. I've ruined everything. I'm too sensitive. I'm too intense. I always mess up. I'm always too loud. There's plenty, right? There's a lot. There's a lot. Think about your most common self-critical thought, not the dramatic one, but the repetitive one, the one that you always say and you always feel. I'm broken. I'm broken. I'm unapproachable, right? These are very real things. I'm not good enough. I'm behind. I ruin everything. I'm too sensitive. I'm too intense. Notice, now ask yourself, when did I first start believing this? Okay, if you're going through it right now, this is not the first time this has happened. It's not. You may act like it, your subconscious may act like it, but this is not the first time that it's happened. So ask yourself, when did you first start believing it? And every time something comes to mind, go back a little further. 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 Who taught me that? Because the voice didn't start as yours. You're not born into believing these things about yourself. Okay? You're not born into it. Think about it. You're not born into it because when you're a baby and you're growing, you try to sit up and you don't really care what anybody says. Your mom says as a baby, don't roll off the bed. If you can roll, you're rolling off the bed. You might hit your head, right? You might do a lot of things, but you're still going to do it. You don't care. So it's not something you're born with, right? It's not something you're born with. The inner dialogue doesn't just sit in your head. It shapes your behavior. If your inner voice says you're not qualified, then you don't apply, right? If your inner voice says you're not qualified, you don't reach out to that person to be on the podcast because, you know, you're not as qualified, right? If your inner voice says you're not qualified, then you don't step up and teach. How do you fix those things? How do you change those things? If it says you're too much, then you shrink. You're too much, right? People get really sketchy when another person doesn't react in the way that they would react. It signals something's wrong or that you're too much. But maybe those people just have a lot of things going on. If it says they don't really like you, you withdraw. Right? You withdraw. The thought creates the emotion. The emotion creates the behavior. The behavior creates the evidence. The evidence reinforces the thought. You have lots of life experience with nothing to share. I feel that. I feel that because a lot of the people that I'm talking to now, they have all these like things that seem like so big. And then I'm like, I'm just me. I'm a vessel for the universe. What does that mean? I understand that so much. I'm going to read this again. The thought creates the emotion. The emotion creates behavior. The behavior creates evidence. The evidence reinforces the thought. That is your loop. The thought creates the emotion. They don't want me here. This makes me sad. I don't want to do this. I'm scared. The emotion creates the behavior. I'm going to withdraw, right? I'm scared. I'm going to withdraw. You withdraw. The evidence reinforces the thought. They leave or walk away. I knew it. Okay? That could go with so many different things. The thought creates the emotion creates the behavior creates evidence, and the evidence reinforces the thought. Yep. That is your loop. Here's an example. Thought, I'm awkward, creates anxiety. That's the emotion. Behavior, you overthink every sentence. The outcome, conversation feels strained. The brain says, see, I told you they didn't like you. Same situation, different nervous system, different outcomes. The dialogue determines the experience. And most people are living in narratives that they've never consciously chosen. You didn't consciously choose a lot of these things. If you're not in the moment, if you're not appreciating the moments or the days or being here with me sometimes, or being there with yourself. Okay. Catching the dialogue. You cannot rewrite what you don't notice. Okay. A lot of these things I bring up so you can notice them. I'm not saying you have to like sit there and focus on them and let them make you depressed and be like, Kitty told me I did this, now I loop and I just can't ever do anything now. Like, you can't rewrite what you don't notice. And sometimes it takes the right person to bring out things for you. I may be able to say something to someone, Elaine may be able to say something to someone, Chica may be able to say something to someone, and Rebel may be able to say something to someone, and some random stranger may say the same thing to the person, and that random stranger may be the one that gets through. You cannot rewrite what you don't notice. If you can't notice it on your own, depend on the people around you to help reflect, right? We talk about the mirror all the time. Awareness comes first. Awareness comes first in all of these things, right? If you are not aware that when you're around people who you see as big and bold, and it makes you feel inferior, you're the one that's feeling these things, right? I have some things coming in. I'm just going to ignore for a second. Awareness comes first. Here's a simple practice. Instead of saying I am not enough, shift to I am having the thought that I am not enough. Okay, this kind of goes along. I think, was it Elaine in your class? Did you talk about that? Like that I have anxiety. You say I am feeling the feeling of anxiety. I'm having the thought that I'm not enough. I'm having the current thought that I am not enough. The single shift from I am not enough to I'm having the thought that I am not enough, the single shift creates a distance, right? It creates some distance. You're not the thought, you're the observer of the thought. It is okay to have these feelings. You are the observer of the thoughts. When you create distance, right, you're the observer, you create choice. Start asking, is this helpful? Is this kind? Is this actually true? And would I say this to someone that I love? Because most of the time, the shit you say to yourselves, you're not going to say to other people that you love. It's not happening. When you create distance, right, I have learned to step back when I feel something because I want to kind of feel it out. Thank you. I want to feel it out. I want to understand what's going on. I want to observe. When you create distance, you create choice. Start asking, is this helpful? Is this kind? Is this actually true? Would I say this to somebody that I love? If the answer is no, then we rewrite. We rewrite the thought. Would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, we rewrite. Not with delusion, but with expansion. Instead of I am not enough, we can say I am learning, I am growing, and I'm allowed to take up space while I figure this out. Okay. That is one that has got me through a lot of the podcast stuff, right? Starting and me, oh, Queen Kitty, just jumping in, just jumping in when you don't know what you're doing. It's easy to get caught up into feeling like you don't know what you're doing, or you feel like you're doing it wrong, or maybe you're in over your head. But the fact is I'm allowed to take up space while I figure it out. And you are too. Instead of I failed, try that didn't work. I'm gathering information. And I'm allowed to adjust. I'm allowed to change things up. You're allowed to change things up. We are not replacing criticism with fantasy. We are replacing your distortion with truth. Right? We're replacing your distortion with truth. And think about that. Instead of saying I failed, which you could call it a fail, right? But it also didn't work, right? It's not a lie. You saying, well, no, I failed. Well, it also didn't work. You were gathering information. Now you know what doesn't work for you. You're allowed to adjust. Okay? We are not replacing criticism with fantasy. We are replacing distortion with truth. Your distortion that is in your mind, saying all the stuffs. All right. Rewiring through repetition. The brain forms neural pathways through repetition. It forms new neural pathways through repetition. You can't just do it once. How many of you guys have said you're going to do something 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and it takes a lot longer for something to become a habit or a pattern? The brain forms neural pathways through repetition, so you have to be patient with yourself. And further, you have to be patient with other people. Like, what is this? Like, not being patient with each other. Okay? You have to be patient with yourself, but you have to be patient with other people too. If someone says they're trying, do you think they're going to do it correctly in the first 20, 30 times? It's possible. It's possible 1 or 2 times is correct. The rest are not. Because what is it? Let me go back here for you. Because that didn't work. They're gathering information. Now they know it didn't work. They're also allowed to adjust, just like you are. Just like you are. The brain forms neural pathways through repetition. The critic has had practice for years. And here you are thinking all the people around you, including yourself, should just absolutely have it all under control. You should be able to do all these new things immediately, even though you've had your whole life to have this mouth talking in your head telling you all this crap. But I just can't deal with it. Be patient with each other. The critic has had years of practice, so be patient. You're not failing because it does not change overnight. You are building new pathways. Think of it like walking through a forest. The old path is clear and it's worn down, right? If you're walking on any path, right? Walking through trees, when Rebel goes to paranormal, there's paths. It's worn down. You know that it's a path. Okay? And that's the path. That's it. That's the path you go down. You go down the path. Right? There's not brush and all kinds of snakes and things everywhere, right? Typically, there's a path. There's a path, and it's been there, and it's been walked on a whole lot. This is your brain. This is your brain. The old path is clear and worn down. What does the new one look like? Okay, the new one, if you're just going to go out into the middle of a forest and you're going to forage a new path, you're going to be able to get it all done in one setting? No, right? You're probably going to need a lot of tools. You're probably going to get hurt a few times. You're probably going to get some bruises and scratches. You're going to probably have to have other people go down that path with you to help kind of like, this is what's happening. This is your brain. So stop thinking just because you didn't get it done the first 30 times that you're not. Maybe you need more tools, right? Maybe you need to have someone go down the path with you. It's a new path. It is new thinking. It is a new pathway through the forest. The old path is clear and worn down. The new one is overgrown. Every time you redirect, you walk the new path. So every time you redirect, you walk the new path. Every time. At first, it's hard. It's hard, then it's familiar, then it becomes natural. That's neuroplasticity. Okay? At first, it's hard, then it's familiar, then it becomes natural. That is neuroplasticity. That's power, right? So when you get mad at yourself because you're falling into an old pattern, or you see someone that you're growing with falling into an old pattern, think about it as the path has been cleared, right? And that's the path that's easy to get on, right? It's safe, right? It's wide. You can walk on it. More people can, it's fine. It's great. But you're stepping into uncharted territory. So it's not going to happen immediately. Because after all, that first path, you've had your whole life to build it. Rewriting your inner dialogue is not about becoming delusional. It is about becoming conscious. Conscious. It's about realizing you've been standing against yourself for years. Years going down the same path. It's cleared out. It's easy. But what would happen if you stood beside yourself again? What would change if your inner voice said, I got you? This class was planned months ago. What would change if your inner voice said, I've got you? Because confidence does not start with external validation. It starts with internal safety. And safety begins when your mind becomes a place you can live without constant attack. Safety begins when your mind becomes a place you can live in without constant attack. Tonight is not about silencing the critic, but it is about gently retraining it. The goal is not perfection. Stop wanting perfection from yourself and stop wanting it from the people around you. The goal is partnership with yourself. And when your inner dialogue shifts, your entire life shifts with it. You deserve a mind that feels like home, and you are allowed to rewrite your story. But every time you start getting sketched out about it, right, or you're feeling weird about it, think about you rewriting your confidence, you rewriting all these things that you felt about yourself for so long. Here is the cleared out path where you believe that. You walk over here, okay? And here's the for yourself for so long. Here is the cleared out path where you believe that. You walk over here, okay? And here's the forest of uncharted territory, and you're trying to navigate a path, right? That is what your brain is like. You have to keep going, right, to make the path clear. And then eventually this one, right, turns into a jungle, forest, whatever. Everything starts growing there, and it's no longer a path that you take because you have a new one. So next time you walk through brush, weeds, a forest, a park that has trees, think about that thought as you look around and you see a place like there's literally no paths here. What would it be like if I started to clear out a path? What tools would you need? How long would it take? Right? Here's some mantras. Mantra, mantra, mantra. If you want these, I can get them for you. I can give them to Rebel and Shelly. I am not my automatic thoughts. What you are thinking automatically on your clear path is not necessarily what you are. You can learn without shaming yourself. I can learn without shaming myself. Progress counts, even when it's quiet. I am allowed to grow at my old pace. You're allowed to grow there too, but I'm allowed to grow at my own pace. I choose thoughts that support my evolution. I am worthy even when I'm becoming. I am worthy even when I'm becoming. Mistakes are data. Mistakes are not your identity. If you're stuck in mistakes of the past, that is data. That is not your identity. It is part of who you were. It is data. You know what you don't want anymore. Stop living in those mistakes that you've made. It is data. I can speak to myself with respect. I am not behind. I am on my own path, and I trust myself to keep learning. You're allowed to rewrite the story. You're allowed to rewrite your story. You're allowed to create a new path in the middle of a forest, right? Look around and see how easy that path would make. I'm saying that to you because you need to show yourself and the people around you growing grace. Like, for real. Right? Because when you put it that way and you think about trying to forage, like cut out trees and cut out all the brush and everything there, and then you're going to go back and maybe pave it or gravel it, right? Are there going to be times that floods come in? Yes. Is there going to be times when trees drop? Yes. It's taken you your whole life with this little inner person talking to you, right? To forge this one path. Now you're trying to do this path. Give yourself some grace and give the people around you some grace. It gets rough. It gets rough. It does. But you have the option, right? Like this video, the video I made this morning, like we get to. I love to joke around and say I'm boycotting work. I do boycott work sometimes. I'll lay in bed and be like, I can't do it today. I can't do it. But I get to go to work, right? There was times I didn't get to go to work and then I didn't get to pay my bills. I get to go to work. I get to make a difference in people's lives. I get to go on a lunch and sit outside and talk to Rebel. I get to go home. I get to teach, right? I get to do these things. I don't have to. I don't have to. I choose to. Sometimes you can still gripe about it, right? But I choose to. I get to do these things. You get to do your things. You get to start trying to forge out a new path. One that's never been touched before. You get to be patient with other people as they do this on their paths. Right? You get to continuously learn about yourself. You get to. I've been writing in my gratitude journal at work. I get to feed myself healthy foods, right? I get to take care of my body, right? I get to appreciate how far it's gotten me. I get to, right? You don't have to. People say you have to do that. You get to. Like, change the way that you think about those things. You get to. We get to have a community. We get to go to Colorado. I get to come on Mondays and teach. Right? That's part of me carving out my path. Is it without like storms? No. Nobody said it's going to be without storms. No one said it's going to be easy, right? You get to be here tonight. You don't have to be. You get to. Okay? You get to share your story and share your experiences. Yeah. We get to learn to re-talk to ourselves in a way that supports our future self. I'm going to end it with this. So you guys know I like ChatGPT. It's fun. So I saw someone the other day and I decided Monday I get to do this. The first thing was this. Every time you pass a threshold when you wake up in the morning, like as soon as you get up out of bed, as soon as you cross over a threshold, you say, when I cross this, I'm crossing over into my highest timeline, right? You just get used to saying it. When you walk out your house, you say it. When you get into your car, you say it. When you get out of your car, you get to where you just say it. So post-it notes everywhere. I'm walking into this. This is what I'm doing. Okay, and the other thing was this. It was, think about the things that you want to do. Don't give it a timeline. But for me, it is getting a letter written from your future self to you where you're at right now. Okay. I typed, write a letter to from my future self, include having transportation in a vehicle to be able to travel consistently, having the nonprofit going, receiving grants, starting the documentary, right? That's what I put. It wrote me like 3 pages out, and it was like so in detail, and it was so written like in a way that I would write it. And it made me tear up sitting there reading it. There's something about it. There's something about, even though like you're the one technically doing it, you could just handwrite it yourself. But there's something really beautiful about it. It's like, I know you're sitting there at the hospital with the lights flickering and helping people check them in. Like, I know you showed up when you didn't necessarily want to, but you still did. And that's why you're where you are today. It's bigger than you ever thought it would be. Get ready. Get yourself ready. Here's the things that worked. And it was because you did this, right? And so it's just a really great prompt to use, but I would highly recommend that you do it. Either use ChatGPT or you write it and read it, and read it from a place as if like, okay, I got a letter in the mail, la, 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 I'm going to read it. It's impactful, especially for those of us who know where we want to be and we're trying to embody that person that we're going to be. That can be hard sometimes doing that. I've had to make some significant changes. I've had to do some boundaries. Like I've had some people say, what's wrong with you? No, I'm great. Actually, I'm really good. I just had to make some decisions, right? Because I want to embody that one, her. I'm going to meet her. Like I am going to meet her. I'm not going to wait just till I get there. I am going to embody what I think she would be, what I think she would look like, what would she dress like, what would she do? Would she go to the gym? Can she walk really great? You know, like in it said, like, you were able to do so much more than you ever thought you would be able to do physically. You have to get up, right? And go. Right? You have to get up and go. Even if the path has tons of sticks and it's not even made yet. Like, or you could just sit there and wait for things to like happen to you. But like, then you don't get to gripe that it's not working. Like if you're not going to get off your ass to do something, then don't gripe that it's not working. Like step out of the box. It's scary. I would never tell you to do something that I'm not totally willing to do. And you guys have absolutely seen me do the things. That's not bragging. That's just saying like, I do it shaken. Hi, Michael. There is a way through, right? But it's forging your own path. That's what everybody's is. So when you look around and you're pissed off because someone's not treating you the way that you think that they should, have you seen the path they're trying to forge through the forest? It's kind of a thing. I've done the future letter, not from my, Jen, it was really impactful. I did not quite expect it to be so emotional. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be. And it's not like I was like that. I just tears came out. I was like, whoa. Like validation, like it feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. I've never really experienced anything like that, because reading it, it's like, oh yeah, okay. So like me sitting here and showing up every day, even when I'm tired, is proof to the universe that I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up. Like I'll show up wherever, like I'm supposed to be. It's proof that I'm doing that. So it's impactful. So I'd highly recommend you do it. And if you do it, share with us. Let me know. Because I read some of mine to Rebel today and it was just really impactful. So yeah, try it and see. And then if this will let me download, I will download it. I will put it on YouTube for you guys. If you guys are new in here and you don't know that we do have YouTube, I have the I Am Kitty Lynn, and then we have the Collective Life, let me get it all right. The Authentic Life Collective YouTube, where we have all the teachers' classes that are uploaded onto there. And that's a newer thing, so there's just a few on there. Yeah. So that's it. It was impactful. So do it. Do it. Be gracious with others as they are walking through their forest, foraging their path. So, all right, guys. Bye. Bye.